Hey, Cohesive Homies. Welcome to Season 3 of the Cohesive Home Podcast. I'm Melissa, one of the hosts, and I'm joined by my best friend, Kate.
So today on episode 34, we're looking back at the 5+ years that we've both practiced minimalism, and we're going to also share some of the lessons we've learned. We'll also talk about what minimalism looks like in our lives compared to 5 years ago.
But first, we want to share about the sponsor of today's episode. Have you ever tried a Kind bar? You may have seen them in your local grocery store, coffee shop, or gym. They make a delicious, healthy snack using whole ingredients, and you can actually recognize and pronounce them.
And since my kids are gluten-free, it's one of the few bars I've always kept in my bag to keep the hunger at bay.
And if you're ready to try some tasty and healthy snacks, we have got a special deal for our Cohesive Home listeners. You can try 10 Kind bars for free, and all you have to do is pay the shipping. When you order the sample box, you'll also get to try Kind Snack Club, where you'll receive monthly snacks at a discount and get members-only bonuses.
You shouldn't have to choose between your health and taste when it comes to snacking. That's why both award-winning chefs and nutritionists love and recommend Kind bars. You know, I tried their 10 snack sample box, and my favorite is the almond and coconut. It is so simple, but it tastes great.
And I absolutely love the dark chocolate cherry cashew. So to pick up your free sample box, go to kindsnacks.com/cohesivehome. That's kindsnacks.com/cohesivehome. Thanks so much to Kind for sponsoring the Cohesive Home Podcast.
So in our very first episode, like a million years ago, it feels that way at least, we shared our personal stories about how we both got into minimalism. So let me recommend, if you have not listened to that episode yet, go ahead and stop this one, give it a listen, and get the backstory.
We'll wait right here. Dun, dun, dun. I'm just kidding.
You know, Melissa, minimalism has been a really big part of our shared story, you know, like our friendship and then obviously Cohesive Home. Mm-hmm. And so I think it would be really great if we could talk a little bit about simply how minimalism has just changed our lives for the better.
Yes. When we decided to actually talk about this, both of us said, hey, let's ask our husbands. What have they kind of taken away? And my husband's main answer was what I really feel, and that was just more time. You know, a general overview of all of the goodness is just basically more time is what we've gathered through going into a more minimalistic type life. And yes, I love that.
Yeah. Well, you know, when you first start out on your journey toward, you know, decluttering and simplifying, it takes time.
Mm-hmm. That's
it's
true.
Exhausting. And it's not only like physically exhausting, it's emotionally exhausting because you're like, I love this thing. I don't want to get rid of it, but I should. Mm-hmm. But once you break through, you know, you do that initial round, then you will have more time. Yeah. And that is a huge thing that I think so many of us, we just like go through our lives and don't realize that our time is being sucked up by so many demands. And one of those demands is our things.
Mm-hmm. And now be forewarned, sometimes you know that you need to go through that shelf again or do those things. And I know for me, sometimes I was like, oh, I don't want to take the time to do that. And, you know, it kind of stresses me out more than it probably should. So definitely, you know, just do it. Just get that done. And then that stress and that time that you've been taking in worrying about that shelf or that closet or whatever, that will free you up so much.
Yes. Yeah. You know, Melissa, I remember the way that I felt when we sold our house.
Yeah.
You know, that was probably like the biggest thing that we decluttered, which, you know, if you listen to the backstory, you'll learn a little bit more about that. But we decided to sell our house, and that feeling of freedom.
Yeah. No mortgage.
Was just unparalleled. Oh my goodness. It was like, we're free.
Yeah. Of course.
Which isn't for everyone.
Well, now you're like, for about 6 months and now we're back at it. But it is. Yeah. It's just, you realize what weight that has. when you don't have it anymore. So yes, a house is a big thing, but just even, like I said, going through a closet or things like that, it releases a lot of weight.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, when you think about all the little things in your home that are taking up space and requiring your time and also potentially stressing you out or making you worry, simplifying those can really, benefit your well-being and your happiness.
Exactly. So, it can have great benefits individually, but I feel like another way is it benefits the whole family when you kind of clear your house and your mind even of the worry and the clutter. I feel like as a family, it helped us, and we talk about this a lot here at Cohesive Home. If you've been listening for any length of time, you know that we talk about values. And for us, and I know for you, Kate, it helped us pinpoint what our family really truly wanted when we started that, the physical decluttering, but also the mental decluttering. And so then you have more time and less stuff and you start going, oh, actually, what do we really want?
Yeah. Well, and because, you don't want to just start randomly decluttering. I mean, yes, it does feel good. I love a good decluttering session, but it's important to know what is your end goal with the decluttering.
Yes.
And that's where the values are so important. You kind of tie those two things together and you can achieve big things. And so for Melissa and I, we both were in that minimizing stage at the same time. And it was just this, total jumping off point for going after what we valued. And so for Melissa and your family.
Yeah, we decided to just move to Germany. I mean, why not? No, it was, we realized we valued experiences over things. Yeah. And so selling our stuff and moving to a different country, it was a really wonderful opportunity. And I'm just crossing my fingers and praying that we can have that again. So we realized that that's what we value. And then along the same lines, Kate, you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I just mentioned a little bit ago, we decided to move cross country to live by family and live by the beach. There were just certain things that we were missing in our daily lives. And we realized like nature, that was kind of a huge one for us.
Yeah.
When we were living in Oklahoma, we just felt like we never got outside.
Don't mention that.
I'm sorry.
I still live here.
I know.
It gets so hot.
You can move up here. I know.
You told me that.
There's houses for sale. Right? I know. Wishful thinking. But so that was important to us. And likewise, we want to travel. We still love the idea of traveling as much as possible. And so, it's hard to get up and go when you're totally consumed by your things and your schedule and, your work, and you have all of these weights on you. And so that's how minimalism has helped us get to a point where, when we have an opportunity to travel, we can just go. So if you're listening and you're at the beginning of your minimalism journey, just know that really anything is possible. Once you start simplifying and identifying your values, you can make big things happen.
So, Kate, is there anything that you wished you hadn't gotten rid of?
Oh.
This is the $1 million question. I feel like, this is going to be fun.
Gosh. There have been a number of things. I would say there's probably been at least a dozen things that I've gotten rid of, and then I've gone to look for them, and I didn't have them anymore. And I'm like, wait a second.
Did I get rid of them?
Well, yes. Well, when you're like in that just, decluttering frenzy, you're like, anything can happen. And it does. But I would say something sentimental that I've been thinking about lately, and it's okay, like I've processed it and moved on. But there was this rocking chair that was in the first classroom I taught in. My good friend had been the teacher in that classroom before me and had been her rocking chair, and she'd left it. So it was like this little reading nook. And when I was pregnant with my oldest daughter and I was teaching, I would, between classes and like during my prep time, I would go sit in the chair and or sleep. One time the head of the school actually walked past my classroom and saw me sleeping. So thankfully I didn't get in trouble because I was super pregnant. But, it was just one of those old-fashioned, just wooden rocking chairs, not like a glider, not anything fancy. And I used it with my daughter, like rocking her to sleep. And when we went through our first big purge, we had a giant yard sale. And I was just getting rid of everything, and I sold it. And now that I have my third kid... I'm feeling a little sentimental. I'm like, I kind of wish I had that rocker. Like, I could, of course, replace it.
Yeah.
But there were the memories attached.
Yeah, memories attached to the things. And
yeah.
What
about you?
Well, if I'm being honest, I really don't have a whole lot of sentimental things that I have. I don't know. I don't have a lot of that. But when we were moving to Germany, we got rid of like our washing machines and our mattresses and all of the things that cost a lot of money to replace. And for us, we really were kicking ourselves when we moved back. We're going, oh, why did we do that? Why didn't we just get a storage unit for those, for the 1 year we were gone? And just put it in there. It would have been so easy, and it would have cost a lot less to do that than have, gotten rid of it. So for us, it wasn't so much sentimental things as it was necessity, like things of necessity that you realize like, oh, why did I get rid of that salad spinner? I actually really need that.
You're like, minimalism, the most expensive hobby ever. You think you're getting rid of your stuff, but you're just replacing it with better or more.
Yes, that's so funny. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, and yes, there have definitely been sentimental things that I just didn't want to get rid of. My husband actually took a load of books. Well, I took them to Half Price Books, and there were some really good books in there, and we have several times gone looking for one of those books and said, oh, we sold it. Dang it. Like, why'd we do that? So there's stuff like that. But kind of, I don't know. So people are always like, get rid of all the things, but we say within reason, it's your life. It's your value system that you are purging upon. And does that make sense?
Purging upon.
That
sounds gross.
Maybe they'll remember it.
Right.
Oh man. But you know what I mean? It's something, it is a personal thing. I feel like so many times we want to make it not personal, but it really is very personal.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's something we've talked about in other episodes that, within minimalism, like especially when you're first starting out, you want that checklist. You want that 5 steps, to your minimalist home. Yeah. Like, do this, then do this, then do this, then do this. But, we're talking about our homes, like where we live every day, and we raise our families. Or if you don't have a family, it's, it's like where you, you feel at peace in your space. And so it is so important to really think through that. Now, there is like an element to decluttering where you do have to detach a little bit, or you'll never get through any of it.
Right.
But I think for both of us, looking back, we can say, maybe there were some things that we should have thought through a little bit more. So taking a little extra time to think through those decisions before just purging everything.
Yeah. Yes. Extra time and care for sure. So looking back on our journey with this, what advice would we give ourselves at the beginning of our journey? Do you have any advice to your 5 years ago self?
Yes. I would say the biggest struggle for me with minimalism has really been with having children and balancing their needs versus my desire to declutter. Mm-hmm. And I think there were probably times that I was too harsh about it and really kind of pushed that concept on them, and maybe they weren't ready or didn't totally understand, or I didn't take the time to fully explain, or maybe it just doesn't really matter if I tried to explain it or not, because they have their own viewpoint and their own desires. And so my advice to myself, over the last 5 years would have been to chill out. And in my defense, I will say that we would end up keeping absolutely everything and have closets and dressers full of stuff. Yeah. So I do think there is a happy medium when you have kids, but I think it is worthwhile to take the time to figure out what your kids' needs are and balance them with your own. What about you, Melissa?
Yeah, I would say to not get caught up in the amount or the numbers of the things that you have. Like I can only have 5 dishes, 2 pans, 5 spoons, 5 knives. No, and there are people that live by those rules, and I don't see anything wrong with it if that suits their desires and their values. At the beginning, I feel like reading the books and reading the blog posts and, all of the things, you kind of get caught up in, like you were saying, those rules. It's almost like a religion in a way. It's like, okay, you must only have so many things
right.
to achieve minimalism nirvana. And when you reach that, this is the number of things that,
and all your dreams will come true.
Yeah.
But they won't.
Fairies will sprinkle dust all over your home. And like I said, it's great if you abide by that. But for me, I think it put more stress on me than anything. Mm-hmm. Feeling like I had to, follow this system of rules and only having a certain amount of things, because that would be true minimalism.
Yes.
As you go on, and what I've found over the last 5 years is that it ebbs and flows. There's going to be at times things will add up, and then all of a sudden you go, oh, you know what? That's a little too much. My dresser is popping out at the seams right now, so I need to kind of purge. And so you just find this nice rhythm, and to just not, I would tell myself to not worry about it so much. Kind of like you said, just chill out.
Yes.
So.
Well, and I think something you and I have learned is that you can get rid of all the stuff, but if there are, other issues like beneath the clutter surface, you have to actually address those. Getting rid of your things is not going to solve all of your problems. And so for you and I, that's, I think, where we both have gotten is now we're trying to, dig down to that next level of minimalism where it's not really about our stuff anymore.
Exactly.
Well, Melissa, are you a super minimalist? How does your house look now compared to when you first started on your minimalist journey?
Well, that's a hard question to answer. I feel like, how should I say this? Each space in which you live in is going to feel different, and it's going to have a different vibe, and it's going to have its own challenges. So for the first house that we lived in when we started this whole thing, it was very easy for me to go through the clutter, go through everything, and then everything had a place.
Yes.
Right now, as we are in our new home now that we are renovating, we still have, and I've mentioned this in a previous podcast, we still have boxes, like our bins, like plastic tubs of, say, winter clothes sitting in my bedroom, because we're just now renovating our closet. I mean, every facet of this house needed to be touched. So little by little, that's what our journey looks like right now, is being okay with the boxes, and it's not a lot, but I don't have decor right now. I haven't gotten to that part yet. And so, our house has white walls, and I really love the white walls because it is such a small space. But once we do start decorating, I'm sure I'm going to have a lot of color. So I guess right now I'm okay with where we're at in this in this journey. I've kind of have peace with the fact that things aren't going to be perfect and put away maybe. But yeah, our house, I don't know how else to explain that. It's just, we're in a very odd time of life right now. Transition, I guess you could say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
how about you? Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, yeah, you can't expect your home to be perfect right now. And like you said, it reflects where you are, like where you and your family are right now. And that's okay. Like it doesn't have to be perfect.
No, I don't have baseboards. It's so ugly. And it's driving me nuts. I'm not going to lie. But the baseboards aren't, part of what we're really talking about right now. So
it's okay.
That's a whole other conversation.
Another podcast.
Yeah. So, well, how about you, Kate?
Good question. So, our house is small and I'm looking around it right now and, I think it looks like a normal family home. And I'm actually really happy about that. I went through my very, very stark minimalist phase when we lived in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Our house was very much the white walls, like the bare floors, just a very simple aesthetic. And that fit our needs at the time. I think because our life felt so chaotic, like everything around us just felt like there was so much noise that I needed that in our home. But now we've gotten to a point where those aspects of our lives are, seem simpler. And so there is color in our home and I feel like it's full of life. There are things. I have 3 kids in under 700 square feet. So, we use every inch, but there's not a whole lot of extra. I mean, we don't have tons of stuff, but we have what we need.
Right.
And actually, Melissa, I have been toying with the idea of adding some storage furniture, which has been like one of those like, oh no, I can't do it.
I will fill it. Oh my gosh.
Exactly, right? Like, if you build the IKEA storage unit, this stuff will come, right?
Oh my gosh. Yes, it will.
Right? But, we homeschool. We're here all the time. So my ideas on that are changing. Melissa, I think kind of the bottom line thing that I've learned over the last 5 years is that, minimalism will always be in my back pocket to use to help achieve what we want in our home and in our lives, but it's always going to be a fluctuation because that's life. Like, we're living it. And so it's not going to stay the static thing, and that's okay.
Basically, what we're saying today is stay true to who you are and create a home that reflects you and your family, and find your happiness in people, not things. Because in the end, it really does not matter if you're a maximalist or a minimalist, but that you loved others and lived a life of value and purpose.
Amen to that. Okay, so before we wrap up, one final word from this episode's sponsor.
Support for Cohesive Home comes from Kind, makers of healthy and delicious snacks that are made without genetically engineered ingredients, right here in the United States. To try 10 Kind bars for free, and all you have to do is pay shipping, go to kindsnacks.com/cohesivehome. That's kindsnacks.com/cohesivehome for all the details.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We have our first short Q&A episode for you this Friday with some big news. So we'll see you then. Until next time.